One of the factors that distinguishes Christian scripture from all other literature is the fact that it's based upon reliable ancient sources. These sources are housed all over the world, from Washington, D.C. to Oxford in England, to Berlin in Germany, to Jerusalem. In a sense, the Bible is a worldwide project. Now, the Bible was written and edited by many different people over a period of 1,000 to 1,500 years. Some of the stories date back 2,000 years prior to the birth of Christ, making it about 4,000 years ago. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the original manuscripts. But copies of biblical books we do have as a testimony that have been copied incredibly accurately. Now think about this. During the times of the Hebrew of the Old Testament, what would happen if a scribe would make an error in doing a translation or a copy?
He would have to throw away and burn the page.
He would have to throw it away and burn the page, go wash himself completely, and totally prepare himself to totally start over. That was the law. That was how the Bible was translated from the Old Testament times. Do you think if they had to burn all the copies that were wrong, do we have any of them? No. So it raises our confidence level that what we do have is accurate, but we can't stop there. Now, there are over 6,000 manuscript copies of the original Greek. 6,000. Now let's put that in perspective. In comparison, Homer's Iliad, the greatest Greek classic work of all time, there's only 650 copies, original. Euripides' Tragedies, the greatest collection of Greek works, has only 330 manuscripts total. In other words, Greek literature has far less than what we have to base our translation of the Bible. Now, this is where you get into the differences. There are some grammatical and literary preferences that are a little different, and a few of them. But the message of the New Testament, or any other theological matter that's important, has not changed. The resurrection of Christ, the virgin birth, loving your neighbor as yourself, all remain the same. In 1956, when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, it confirmed once again, when they looked into the Old Testament text that they found, that it was accurate. So can we say it's historically reliable? If it's accurate, if we know that we were able to take and translate it accurately, can we feel comfortable historically? This is some cool stuff. Sir William Ramsay, he was a British archaeologist, thought Luke was a foolish storyteller because he mentioned too many specific names, places, and dates. These specifics could easily be checked out and refuted, assuming, as Ramsay did initially, that they were not true. But after 30 years of studying, searching, and digging in the ground, Ramsay famously concluded that Luke is a genius, and he's a master historian of the first rank, and this author should be placed amongst the very greatest of all historians. Wow. Time and time again, historically, it has proved accurate. The Bible merely points to God. We don't worship the book, we worship God.
Amen.
Now, give you some more historiological things. The Bible's accurate. In 1961, the discovery of the inscription referring to Pilate during the time of Tiberius. In the mid-1960s, discovering of a box containing the crucified victim named Yehoahan from the first century Palestine confirmed that the nails were driven into the ankles of crucified victims. In 1992, a home and burial place of the high priest of Jerusalem, who was in the Bible, that crucified Jesus. The fact of the matter is, even the Smithsonian itself said this about the Bible. Much of the Bible, in particular the historical books of the Old Testament, are as accurate historical documents as any that we have from any place in antiquity. And the fact that they are more accurate than many of the Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Greek histories. The Bible records can be and are used as they are any other ancient documents in archaeological work. Historically, the Bible is accurate. For example, Tacchius is regarded as the greatest ancient Roman historian. On one occasion, he mentions Jesus. And this is going to be important when we start talking about who is Jesus towards the end of the series with Mike. In context, after Rome was burned in 64 AD, the rumor spread that the Roman Emperor Nero was responsible for starting the fire, and that he actually played the fiddle while watching it. Tacitus picks up the story here. Here's the citation. There are a number of data proving Tacitus that collaborates the New Testament, and the time of Jesus' execution was during the reign of Tiberius under Pontius Pilate. Christianity was checked for the moment, and the gospel reports that the disciples hid for a while and did not preach publicly until 50 days after Jesus' resurrection. Tacitus adds that Christianity then broke out again in Judea in its origin. Acts reports the apostles were in their public proclamation that Jesus had risen from the dead in Jerusalem, which is in Judea, which is in Luke 24. Then Tacitus reports that Christianity spread everywhere, even to the capital of Rome itself, which is what we're studying in the book of Romans. It seems to show that the apostles were refuting the great commandment in Acts 1:8 to make disciples in Jerusalem and all Judea, and all over the world. The New Testament also reports that the gospel was received by numbers in Rome. Paul was one of the most influential letters to the church in Rome. Moreover, Paul mentions that there were even some members of Caesar's household who had become Christians. Here's another historian. Josephus was born 4 to 7 years after Jesus' death. He lived into the end of the 1st century. He was not a Christian. He grew up in a Jewish family in Jerusalem where his father was a popular Jewish priest. He fought the Romans, was defeated by them, joined them, and became a court historian for the emperor. Josephus collaborates that the New Testament view of Jesus were reporting that Jesus was regarded as a wise man and he performed works that awed the crowds, that he attracted Jews and Gentiles to himself, and that Pilate crucified Jesus at the suggestion of Jewish leaders, and that Christianity continued after his death. History defines the fact that the Bible is historically accurate. Listen, there's going to be the temptation to look at the shock and awe that the History Channel has to offer. Okay?
On TV.
On TV. Don't believe the tripe that they put out. It's a liberal media. They're going to put whoever they want and spin it however they want. They'll twist the facts. But when you look at serious historians, serious archaeology, serious people about dead languages, they're going to tell you that the Bible is real and that it's accurate and that it's historically dead. And you can have confidence in the Word of God.